Hey there, it's Mr. Burns, hanging out in A110. We have our next set of vocabulary for Unit 4. It's set number 2. It's the executive branch, powers and roles of the president. It's a short one. Enjoy it while it lasts. 8 words. Alright, so remember when you're doing your vocabulary, you should have your vocabulary handout with you. Due date should have been posted in class, so you should write that at the top, along with your name and period. And on the date that your vocab is due, you will have a content and vocabulary quiz on eCart. Alright, so here's the directions. You should be familiar with these. Make sure for your definition you are creating your own simplified definition, a synonym, an example, something to help you remember that word. For the picture and visual, you're going to draw in color something that represents that word. Use something different from what's on the PowerPoint. Alright, we got 8 words, so the first 4 are on the front. So the first one is going to be appoint. And the president has the power to appoint certain members to the cabinet, to the Supreme Court. If there's a vacancy, federal judges, as other federal judges as well. And appoint means to place in charge or to select. Alright, next we're going down is going to be bureaucracy. You're going to write both of those bullets in the definition area there. A general definition of a bureaucracy is a complex system of many departments and offices. Using a negative light, a bureaucracy means there's many different layers between you and where you need to go, or where your information needs to go. So if I need to get to Mr. Eline, I might have to first talk to Mr. Farmery, who then might have to talk to Ms. Phillips, who then might have to talk to Mr. Eline. That would be a layer of bureaucracy. You got your teachers, you got your administrators, your principal, right? However, in civics, we're going to also talk about the bureaucracy as being that group that works in the executive branch. It works for all those departments in the executive branch, and they help operate the day-to-day functions of our government. All right, our third word is the cabinet. The cabinet are the advisors that specialize in one area, and they're going to give advice to the president. We have like Secretary of Defense, who's the head of the Department of Defense. We have the Attorney General, who's the head of the Department of Justice. We have the Secretary of State, who's the head of the State Department, which deals with foreign affairs. We have the Secretary of Homeland Security, who's in charge of securing our borders. Okay, so there's going to be 15 secretaries plus other cabinet members who are advisors to the president. Okay. Alright, we have a diplomat is the fourth word. One of the roles of the president acts as chief diplomat. So a diplomat is someone who represents their country in relation to other countries or other organizations. Okay, that's a diplomat. So here you see Hillary Clinton meeting with a diplomat from a foreign nation. Okay. Alright. On the back we have execute, which put both of these bullets here. So in general it means to enforce or to carry out. And that's the main job of the executive branch, right? To enforce or carry out laws. Now, what does that really mean? So Congress passes a law. What is that going to look like? Public policy. What is that going to look like? They're going to put a plan into place, into effect, and make sure that, people know what happens if you follow it or if you don't follow it. Alright, next we have an executive order. That is where the president kind of gets involved a little bit in the lawmaking process, in a way. But really the president can only issue an executive order over parts of the military or other parts of the executive branch. And it's where the president might kind of tell other parts of the executive branch or other groups exactly how to do something, an executive order. And one of the things that the judicial branch can do is declare an executive order unconstitutional, which you've seen with President Trump's executive orders against immigration and things like that, and the Supreme Court or other federal courts were able to kind of say, no, you can't do that, you don't have that power, that's the legislative branch, or you don't have the power to do exactly that. Okay, that's an executive order. Alright, the last two, we have a pardon. We talked about this with impeachment a little bit. A pardon is to forgive or accuse someone of a crime. This picture shows the president pardoning a turkey. They do this every year before Thanksgiving. But basically, it's someone who commits a federal crime. The president has the power to forgive that person of the crime, and they can be released from jail. Usually these are white collar crimes or crimes, minor drug offenses maybe. Possibly these people could be political friends of the president. The other thing the president can do is commute or shorten sentences. So if someone's in jail for 25 years, the president has the power to commute their sentence, which kind of goes along with pardoning. All right, and our last word is veto. Veto is when a president refuses to sign a bill. The president can either veto the entire bill or sign the entire bill. There's no in between. Remember, Congress needs a 2/3 vote in each house of Congress to overturn or override that veto. Very difficult to do. So once a veto is done by the president, usually that bill has to be, started over from the beginning. All right. So now your job by the due date, finish up the last 2 columns. Use this to review for your quiz. That'll be also on the due date. All right. Any questions? See me? Let me know.